Some of you are going to the literary safari. Yell. Hello. Boom. There we go. I know that some of you are going to the literary safari, so we're going to start this event right now and keep it quick and short and to the point, where we're going to be announcing the Best Translated Book Award winners for poetry and for fiction for this year, which covers all the books published from December 1st of 2010 through December 31st of 2011. And that. This is the 5th year that we're doing the awards. We started it sort of as, it was kind of a joke on 3% website, to be honest. Like, there was one day where I was sort of pissed off because it was snowy and it was the end of the year and there's all these year-end lists coming out and none of them involved international literature. So I made this blog post on 3% about how it would be really cool if someone created a year-end list just for international books. And I thought, well, it would be even better if it was some sort of award. And then I thought, well, we could make this award. So we launched the Best Translated Book Award in 2008. And then over the next 5 years, it's grown exponentially. Like, now we have like a real formal committee, which I'll talk about in a second, and prize money from Amazon.com, which we'll also talk about in a second. And it's getting more attention every year, and the books are fantastic. And it's really fun to be able to bring this kind of attention to international literature, because a lot of the titles that are on these lists, in the long list and even on the short list, don't get that much media attention. They don't get reviewed in a lot of places, they don't get talked about, but it's thanks to like awards like this and the bookstores like McNally Jackson that they find their readership and find their readers. So real quick, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Ken for letting us do this, McNally Jackson for letting us do this, John Fine for being here to talk, Tom Roberts from New Directions, who co-hosts the 3% podcast with me, for being gracious enough to actually open the envelopes and announce the winners in a second. I also want to thank all of our judges. So real quickly, the fiction judges this year were Monica Carter, Gwendolyn Dawson, Scott Esposito, Susan Harris, Annie Janouche, Matthew Jakubowski, who's here, Brandon Kennedy, and Phil Marks, and Michael Orthiver, who's here, and Jeff Waxman. The poetry judges were Brandon Holmquist, Jennifer Kronovet, Erica Mena, Idra Nobi, and Kevin Cooper. And I also just now want to turn it over for a second to John from Amazon, because he's responsible for providing the $20,000 in cash prizes that we'll be giving out to the winners tonight, which makes this, I believe, the largest best-funded international or translation award in America. So, John, you want to say something about?
Just quickly, thanks, Chad. I mean, the big... is this on? Doesn't matter, I can project. The big story here is storytelling, and we're just really psyched, stoked, excited to be able to support getting these stories out to a larger audience. I think that's the most important thing. And so I think the second most important thing is who the winners are. So I'm going to just pass it right on right now.
Thank you. Okay. And just so you know, some of the books from the finalists are all up here on this table. There's copies of the winning books around, so afterwards, after you find out, you should buy any and all of them. I guess we'll start with poetry. And there were 6 finalists this year. Hagar Before the Occupation, Hagar After the Occupation by Amal al-Jabouri, translated from the Arabic by Rebecca Gale Howell with Hussein Casey. Last Verses by, and that was published by Alice James Books, which is one of the interesting stories is they were one of the presses that, this is like the first year they ever published a work of poetry in translation, and have started like a poetry and translation series, so it's nice to have them on this list. Also, Last Verses by Jules Laforge, translated from the French by Donald Ravel, which is published by Omnidon. Spectacle and Pigsty by Kiwao Nomura, translated from the Japanese by Kyoko Yoshida and Forrest Gander. That's also published by Omnidon, which is the only press with 2 titles on the poetry list. Fireproof Box by Gleb Shulpagakov, translated from the Russian by Christopher Madison and published by Canarium Books. Engulf and Kindle by Anya Utler, translated from the German by Kurt Fields and published by Burning Deck. And False Friends by Uliana Wolf, translated from the German by Susan Bernofsky and published by Ugly Duckling Press. So those are your 6 finalists for poetry, and Tom.
I get the glamour job.
The winner is
Nice Waterhouse, where are you?
Spectacle and Pigsty by Kiwao Nomura, translated from the Japanese by Kyoko Yoshida and Forrest Gander.
But I'm here to represent him in Omnidon Publishing. My name is Paul Legault, and I'm an author with Omnidon who has 2 finalists, which is such an honor. The fact that everything is so collaborative in international literature is exciting. The fact that I can be here as a pseudo-collaborator in this is a ridiculous honor for me, but I know Forrest and Kyoko are extremely excited to be receiving this award. And I don't know. It seems absurd for me to be here at all, except that I'm excited, and I will spread the word back to them. There's much to discuss and announce, so I will, without further ado, just thank also Rusty Morrison and Ken Keegan, who are also not here. People who are not here are some of my favorite people, and all of you as well, and especially to you for supporting what you guys started.
I love the description of that book on Amidon's website, where it says something like, the only way to try and get an idea what the poetry is like, envision Fugazi talking about philosophy. Which is solid. Like, that's a good selling line.
I would argue that Fugazi is always talking about
I believe so too. Waiting room? Still. I mean, waiting, that's pretty solid philosophy. Okay. Fiction. There are 10 fiction finalists. Ooh. Lightning by Jean Echenoz, translated from the French by Linda Coverdale and published by the New Press. Upstaged by Jacques Chouet, translated from the French by Leland de la Durante and published by Delphi Archive Press. Cornel Esti by Desio Kostolany, translated from the Hungarian by Bernard Adams and published by New Directions. I Am a Japanese Writer by Danny Laferriere, translated from the French by David Homel and published by Douglas and McIntyre. New Finnish Grammar by Diego Morani, translated from the Italian by Judith Landry and published by Daedalus. Stone Upon Stone by Wisław Myslewski, close, translated from the Polish by Bill Johnston and published by Archipelago Books. Scars by Juan Jose Saer, translated from the Spanish by Steve Dahl and published by Open Letter. Kafka's Leopards by Maiosa Scliar, translated from the Portuguese by Thomas Beebe and published by Texas Tech University Press. In Red by Magdalena Tully, translated from the Polish by Bill Johnston, who has 2 books on here. It's the first time I think that's ever happened, and published by Archipelago Books. Never Any End to Paris by Enrique Villamatas, translated from the Spanish by Anne McLean and published by New Directions. So those are your 10 finalists, all of which are amazingly fantastic books. To be honest, I can't imagine what it was like trying to come up with a winner out of this list, and I'm glad I didn't have to. But there is one, and it's in your
The winner is Stone Upon Stone, Wisław Myslewski.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Amazon, for supporting the award. It's wonderful. And thank you, jurors, for loving the book. I couldn't be more delighted that this is happening to this book. This is a book that is one of my favorite books we've published in the 8 years we've been alive. And it's just remarkable on the translation. I can't imagine how he translated it. He captured a voice that is so original and so alive and so brilliant and flowing, just overflowing with wisdom and humor and passion about life. And it's just, I encourage you all to read it. It's a wonderful book. And Bill will be delighted, and we'll have to call him right now. I'm delighted. I really couldn't be happier for Bill Johnston. He deserves it. I have to tell you, he deserves it.
Could you repeat the name of the book?
Stone Upon Stone by Wisław Myslewski.
It's right there.
Write that down.
Right there. Myslewski. Anyhow, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
Fugazi talking about philosophy as a selling point for that book. This book is all about boozing and womenizing, so it's awesome. I teach a class and my students love this book, and I usually don't love things, so. What's that?
On boozing and womanizing?
Boozing and womenizing. All of it. 500 pages. Lots of fighting, farming. Thanks to all of you for coming out to this, and thank you, Tom, for helping announce the award winners, and congratulations, everyone. Go have fun at the Penn Festival.